Organ Grinder by Lounsberry Pedals. I'm Kendall Scott, keyboard player with Nektar, and I've happened upon some really wonderful pedals that I use on my organ that just give it a lot of meat, a lot of different tones, fatten it up a bit, and I just want to show you what they are. So that was full-on organ grinder grind, but what I have on actually now is the tall and fat, which is kind of a pedal that puts the body back into almost anything you put in it. I'll show you on the laptop that it does that on those soft synths as well, but on the organ, kind of a clean sound going on, vanilla, which I use a lot. And the tone effect is more than just it's not volume. You might not be able to hear, but it's giving it body, and especially when we're up loud and playing it, it helps the organ to just push a little through and have the same body as, say, a guitar or a bass that has that low frequency kind of punch. So the tone of that, I have it set at sort of a medium setting, just adding the body, and I have that on all the time. At first I was going to click it on and off to give a little boost. You could use it that way as well, but I found that I can't live without it now, so it's on all the time. It's going to be on 100% of the time. So for dirt, I'm using a really cool pedal called the Organ Grinder, which Greg Lounsberry and Roger Powell of Utopia and Bowie and all came up with. It's a beautiful circuit. It's reactive. Now I have it set pretty hot and pretty dirty because that's how I'm using it in this situation, but it can purr too. That's just a really rich distortion, but it's also reactive in that if you well, I'll use the drawbars for it. Cleans up a little bit. That's just really great, really great. So, or you can just hit it hard. Bring it back level-wise to clean up a little bit. So I can't do without these pedals now. So there are also a few other pedals that I don't have connected here. Maybe we'll do that in the future. Another great one is the Whirly Grinder, which is I think was originally designed to go with your Nord or something with a Wurlitzer or piano sound, pianette or something. But my secret weapon, I found it kills on the clavinet, kills on the Wurlitzer, but then I happened to switch to clavinet, and I think I'm going to weld it to the bottom of the Nord now, so it's never coming off. It just gives you that meat, brings it all back. So I hopefully, we'll be able to do a video of that in the future. But that is the Organ Grinder in the tall and fat, the way I use it right now. So I've also got a tall and fat on my laptop rig. This is just for rehearsal, but I will be using it when we hit the road. I've got a tall and fat and wide because this is the stereo version of the tall and fat. So this is also great on, say, your Nord main output, just to give it that extra weight, So I have it coming out of my interface just to go into the mixer, but what it's doing is similar to what I was showing you before. It's just adding that weight, and it's not a level thing. So if I turn it off, and I can turn the volume of the laptop up, still not the same. When you EQ to get a little more weight or add gain, you can get distortion. You're amplifying frequencies that could be unpleasant, so you have to get really pretty good at it. But this is a one click. It's driving a little bit, so there's an input level. It's a tall, and there's also a the fat knob, which is a bit of a switch from. There we go. Gives you a little drive. It's a pleasant drive. And weight, you can really hear that grit that the Mellotron, the samples have in there. A couple of the other sounds, like the choir, for example. Flute, which we're all familiar with. It's just no weight, you know. So I can't do without it now. Greg Lounsberry has me addicted to all these pedals, and like I said, you should check out the whole line because he's got a lot of drive pedals that work in a lot of different situations. There's the Nigel, and even though they might be designed a little more towards guitar, you could put them on anything. You try them on bass, you could try them on your guitar, on keyboards, experiment. What I'm doing that I think I forgot to mention on the organ is the tall and fat is something that I put on to give a tone, a big fat kind of tone to it. And the organ grinder is something that gives you that nice John Lordy drive. And you could mix and match, but running the tall and fat first, because it's an always on pedal, into the organ grinder is a different sound than when I flip it. And I found using the organ grinder first and then amplifying it with the tall and fat gives a completely different sound. So, you know, keyboard players get in there, you know, like the guitar players, and start playing around. It's a lot of fun, awful lot of fun. Gives you some sort of analog vibe back into your digital gear. So, Lounsberry pedals.